Today on Jerry and Jeff Eating US, it is day 8 of our holiday takeover with El Santo. Today we're learning how to fry a piece of fish with the skin on.
So today we're going to learn a couple different lessons. We're going to learn how to control moisture, why it's important. We're going to learn how to cook salmon with a very crisp skin. When you cook any protein, if it's full of water, it's going to steam as opposed to sear and cook nicely. A couple things when controlling moisture. Water is, in and of itself, relatively flavorless. So the more water you remove out of whatever you cook, the more flavor you're going to have. That's why cured meats are usually so intense in flavor. That's why a lot of dried powdered herbs or dried powdered spices are more intense than their fresh counterparts, is because they've removed a lot of that moisture. So with the salmon, it's a similar thing. We want to move that moisture before we cook it so it really intensifies that flavor. I bought a frozen sealed salmon from a supermarket so I can show you the effects on this. I have 2 pieces of salmon. This one I have just pulled out of the bag. This one I have salted, pressed, and let sit in oil. So the difference is when you freeze something, it's going to absorb a lot of moisture. If you see and I press it, you're going to see all that water come out, all that moisture come out, a lot less so from this one. So to remove this moisture, what we're going to do is we're going to salt both sides of the salmon and then we're going to pat it dry with a paper towel or a napkin. We have a napkin, we're going to pat it dry, we're going to push on one side, let all that moisture out, flip it and press on the other side. And it just makes sure that there's not all of this excess water in when you cook it. And if you look, you can see all the moisture that came out in this paper towel. It's crazy. I can even wring it out into a bowl and you're going to see a lot of that moisture come out. And now, when we're doing a crispy skinned salmon, we want to make sure that the salmon comes all the way up to room temperature. And that's going to let, again, that get a nice quick sear on it. It's not going to take as long to come up to the temperature where it starts to brown. We're going to salt it and we're going to put it down in oil. The oil is going to draw just a little bit more of the moisture out and infuse a little bit of oil into the skin itself. This is something that we've already done to the other piece. So now we're going to cook these 2 pieces side by side. We're going to take our pans, we're going to add a little bit of oil to them. At El Santo, we use an ancho oil. So that's just a canola oil that we've infused with the seeds and stems of ancho chilies just so that nothing goes to waste. It just imparts a little bit more of a smoky flavor, but it still has a very high smoke point. So you're going to put this oil in the pans. We're going to turn them up to a relatively high heat. You want it to start to shimmer and almost smoke. Once you see a little bit of smoke, you know that your oil is hot enough. We're going to put them skin side down, being very careful to put them down away from you so you're not splashing oil towards yourself. What you're going to see is this one already has not started to simmer yet. It's slowly releasing its moisture. The one that we've had out and patted dry is already searing very nicely, and we're going to want to put pressure on the top of this fish just to make sure that that skin stays in contact with the pan the whole time. When you're cooking any fish with the skin on, you want to cook it skin on almost 90% of the way. You don't want to flip it because what happens when you flip it is then the flesh at the bottom starts to steam the skin at the top and it gets soggy again. So we're going to cook it 90% of the way on the skin. Nearing the end, we're going to flip it now. We're going to finish it on the flesh side. And we're going to pull it off to a resting rack to make sure that it doesn't sit flat down on any surface. Now that it's rested and come through, you can see the difference when we cut it. This skin is very nice, very crisp still. This one has that soggy spot in the center. And as you break it apart, you see the salmon that we dried out is nice and flaky. This one is a lot more dense and you can still push some more water out of it. It is not the texture that you're going to want.
Thanks for watching. You still have time to donate to El Santo's clothing drive, so you can drop off socks, underwear, or canned food at either El Santo or the River Market. And come back tomorrow. We're checking out El Santo's version of an old fashioned.